Using the so-called Delta variant of COVID-19, of course, we don't know whether the Delta variant is the Delta variant. Could it be the resurrection of the Spanish flu? Gain of function research has been conducted on that. Dr. Fauci was involved. Is it something else that's out there? We know that the Spanish flu was many times more deadly than COVID-19. It killed over 75 million people in the early part of the 20th century. But the left, predictably, is now using the COVID-19 Delta variant as an excuse, as a springboard to tighten the noose around the American people. And why does the left want to tighten the noose? Because they know that their policies are failing. They know they have to take total control. They'll use that. They'll use environmental laws. They'll use people running across the southern border that will vote for them, they think, to keep control. They'll, in fact, change the voting system, make it national, that they'll be allowed to do the mail-in ballots and everything else which skews the vote. They will do many, many other things. Destroy the military with an emphasis on things that have nothing to do with the military, but transgenderism, critical race theory. In fact, people in the military trust their fellow GIs. They're not racist, generally speaking. They'll be dead if they're racist going into battle. I can go on and on and on. I want people to go to the Old Testament book of Isaiah. I dedicate my second book, Whores, Why and How I Came to Fight the Establishment, to the book of Isaiah, where God calls upon the counselors and lawyers to rise up, to return the tarnished city to the faithful city. Well, the problem today is we don't have counselors and lawyers who are honest, counselors and judges. They're compromised. They're corrupt. They don't stand up for the American people. In fact, they are against the American people, but they're for the special interests who got them their jobs, particularly on the federal bench and on the Supreme Court. So it is time for the American people to rise up. I want you to read my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. You can get it at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com, all major booksellers. And for a contribution of $50 or more, we'll send it to you for free at Freedom Watch. It helps us do our work. Our citizens' grand juries, our Third Continental Congress, our hard-hitting lawsuits. And it's just another example of how the left is trying to beat back any dissent, anyone who will object to the total socialist, borderline communist, atheist takeover of this country. The FBI and the Justice Department, my once proud alma mater, the Justice Department, is being used as the personal Gestapo of Biden and Harris and the left, rounding up anybody that was in Washington, D.C., peacefully or legally on January 6th. We have lawsuits pending on that. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. A brave American, Mr. Massaquoi, brought this Siaka Massaquoi class action, and we need to proceed and see if we can find that one judge who will put his foot down and stop this outrage. But it is unlikely that you'll find any judges that really have the courage to do what needs to be done, which is why the American people need to rise up peacefully and legally. And that's why you need to read my book, It Takes a Revolution. It's why I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org and watch our Third Continental Congress. We're deliberating on how to make peaceful and legal means to retake this country and take it back from the radical left who has put a stranglehold around this country. We've been enslaved. You know, the ancient Hebrews were enslaved in Cairo. God sent the angel of death over. The Jews had to paint oxblood on the door to prevent their first sons from being killed. God sent pests. He sent plagues to destroy Egypt. And Moses then left with his people and searched for the promised land. It took him 40 years. We don't have 40 years to find the land of Zion. It has to be done in months because our country is slipping away. And we don't want to see anybody harmed. But you got to ask yourself this question. Is COVID-19 and the other tragedies that are befalling upon us the result of God's displeasure with the lack of morality, ethics, and respect for His law? Not the law of man, but His law, the Ten Commandments, and the law of the Talmud, and the New and Old Testaments. Of course, that is the law of man in part. But we have to transcend the law of man and bring back the law of nature and nature's God, as our founding fathers did in 1776 when they declared independence. That's my message for today. This is just the beginning. We see lockdowns in New York City put in effect today by Comrade de Blasio, as we call him. Others have called him as well. This is the beginning of a total stranglehold, a total noose around the American people. You're going to see it in every aspect of our life. Get ready. We have a fight to wage. We have a fight to win. We will do it peacefully, legally. Read my book. It takes a revolution. Forget the scandal industry. Unlike Mark Levin, I don't just talk about going out and complaining, going to school board meetings. I'm talking about raging a real, peaceful, and legal revolution. Read what I have to say. Read my lips. I'll be back tomorrow with another YouTube video. Until then, stay safe and remember that the Father and Son will only help us if we help ourselves.